and welcome to your marketing makeover. I'm Susan Regier, and this is where I'll answer your questions to help you captivate, fascinate, and dominate your market. My question today comes from Mary, and she says, my open rates on my Ezine are small, only 37%. Help! How can I get more people to read my stuff? After all, it's good information. Thanks, Mary, for sending in your question, and congratulations. I am so happy to hear that you're doing an Ezine. Hopefully it's on a regular basis. And I want to give you the truth about the open rates. 37%, you are doing fabulous. Here's something that you may not have known about when it comes to your Ezine, whether you're using MailChimp or Constant Contact or some other type of software to get your Ezine or your electronic newsletter out to your audience on a regular basis. Inside every Ezine, there is actually an image embedded inside that tells MailChimp or Constant Contact how many times it's been opened, who's opened it, where they've clicked to, all of that great information. The problem can be if somebody who's receiving your Ezine has set their preferences to read text only, no images, then all of a sudden you will not know the real count. You could be off anywhere from 11 to 35% on your actual open rate. Another little thing to consider, the industry standard. For example, an industry standard for your type of business may only be about a 14% open rate. So if you're getting on a normal range of about, say, 21, 22%, that's great. And if some of your emails are being opened maybe 25, 26%, that's even better. You can see which ones are even opening better. The key here is to follow the trends for your Ezine. If you're constantly getting about a 37% open rate, well, first of all, that's fabulous. That is a high number, and it is great because, believe me, not everybody opens every email that they get. So you're consistently getting a good number. But how can you make that better? Take a look. If you are constantly sending it out on a Monday, try a Tuesday. If you're sending it out in the morning, try an afternoon, or vice versa. Does a weekend work better for your audience? Only you know what your ideal client is doing. So change it up a little bit and see if you send it out on a different day of the week or a different time, if that's going to get a better open rate. Watch the trends. Another thing you can do, please make sure that in the from field on the Ezine, it clearly states that it's coming from you so that the recipient knows who it's coming from. I know I don't open a lot of emails where I don't know who it's coming from. And if it looks like spam and it's coming from a generic email address, I often will delete it. Your subject line is the next key to getting your emails opened. Is it compelling? If it just says read now or my monthly Ezine, chances are it's going to get lost. But if you said something like the 3 things you need to know about about creating a great entrance as you walk into a room, okay, that's a way too long, but the 3 things you need to make a first impression, chances are it's going to connect with me and I want to read it. So make sure your subject line is in direct alignment with what you're talking about in the content of your Ezine, and that it is compelling, that it entices me, that I want to know more. If everybody knows that you've got a specific program going on and you've been marketing that program with some catchy subject lines, and there's only 1 day left to join or to save, make sure that you let them know that in the subject line so they realize this is time sensitive. So it has to reflect what is in the content. Don't be too cute and be dishonest in that you're saying something that has no relevance to the body of the email, because people will remember that and not open it later. And avoid the little forward, putting the FW or the re as if you're answering one of those emails. It's a tactic, it's a little trick that is annoying, and it's kind of goes on to that little scammy feel. Now, when it comes to the content, and this is key for any successful e-zine, you have to give good content. That doesn't mean sharing pages and pages of information, because the shorter it is, the better. If you can have a quick 60-second read, a one-page, 400, 500 words max article, great. Always give good content that is relevant to your audience. But remember to put a little bit about you in your e-zine as well. Right at the top, open up with a note from Sue, is what I call it. In my SusanReguer.com newsletter, it's called Copy Matters. Right off the bat, it comes from a note from Sue. And that's where I share a little bit about me personally. It can be about holidays, it can be travel, it can be my kids. I have 3 kids, so I'll talk about them. I've talked about my dog and my cat in the past, and I always get great response. Got to open up and share a little bit about who you are, so that you can make that emotional connection, and people want to know more about who you are, so that they would connect and want to work with you. I also include photos. So if I'm traveling, I might have a photo of myself and, say, my daughter, for example, on some place that we're visiting. Or if I'm doing a charity event, I'll have a picture of myself and my co-worker, or the event that's happening. Put some personal pictures in there as well. Just one of them, you can do that. So I always start with a good note from me about my personal self, the great content, the article that I want people to read and learn from, that they're looking for it because they're getting good tips. And then obviously a promotion. A small part of your e-zine should be a promotion. What is it that you want them to do? You want them to go back to your website. Do you have a program or a product that you want to recommend? Is there an event, not even yours, but somebody else's in the community, that you think would be good for your audience, so that you're not always selling your own stuff, but that you're sharing information from others as well? So what is that? Give them the link that they can go and find out more details. Keep it short. Remember, this is just the newsletter. It's the e-zine. Have the relevant information in there, and then have them go back to your website to get all of the details. Consider if they're reading this on their handheld iPhone or an iPad, they may not want to have a lot of scrolling, and they're going to look at it when they're back on their computer. So keep it short, keep it sweet. Relevant content, make sure that people know it is coming from you. The subject line is relevant, and don't forget the PS when it comes into your little note as well. The subject line and the PS, that postscript, is the most read items on your newsletter. So the PS should really tell them what you want to do next. So it could be referencing that recommendation for the service or product. It could be something else totally different, but it will stand out, and it should leave the lasting impression. So the numbers that you're actually receiving for your open line, don't worry about it too much. Just watch the trends, so that you can get the most people opening it, and sometimes it's just trial and error. So thanks for sending that in. If you have a question for your marketing makeover, please send it to me by emailing Susan at SusanReguer.com, SusanRegier.com, and I'll look at it for the next edition of your marketing makeover. That's it for today. Cheers until next time.